Welcome to the dialogue. Today we're going to be reviewing Quentin Tarantino's 8th movie, The Hateful Eight. It is about a bounty hunter that has a fugitive. He's trying to get to this one town, but then gets detoured, I guess you could say, or stopped in his travels. He's then forced, because of a blizzard, to stay in a cabin with all these other characters. And that's when things get interesting, and it turns into a kind of whodunit film.
Yeah, those characters, though.
Some of them are good. Others, maybe not so much.
I don't know if I would use the word good to describe any of these characters, but
yeah,
that's great.
They're characters. So some of my thoughts on this movie. For one, it's a Quentin Tarantino film, so it's very stylized. I really like that. I like the fact that right when the movie comes up, you see the text Hateful Eight, and it's embellished, and it looks so comic book kind of status.
It's true.
It's great. True. I love that. The music kind of brings you right into that at the beginning, too. And then just, obviously, you got the Quentin Tarantino violence, which is also very stylized.
Oh, man, yeah.
And I can enjoy that for what it's worth. I enjoy that about Quentin Tarantino. He really pulls it off. So it adds a lot to the movie. There's some good drama in the movie. There's good acting. The performances and the chemistry between the characters seems to be very good. But there are some things also that I feel kind of bring this movie a little bit down for me. One of the things is that the movie is 3 hours long, practically. It's 2 hours and 55 minutes.
It's pretty long.
I feel like there could have been a lot that was taken out of the movie, honestly. There's this part at the end, try not to spoil too much for you, but there is this part, I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's this part at the end of the movie where it kind of jumps back to explain a lot of what's happened, but I feel like you as the audience could go without it. I didn't feel that that scene added anything to it, other than just to show you kind of what happened that you don't know up to this point. But you do figure that out. And so you don't really need this whole scene. The other thing that kind of happened that was a directional, so a decision made by Quentin Tarantino.
Right. He made a lot of decisions in this movie.
Yeah, he did. As a director, he made a lot of decisions. Was to add the chapter breakups in this movie. I felt like that pulled me out of the movie a lot. I know that he's done that with some of his other movies, and I can respect that, but it did kind of take me out of this. And then also he has these kind of narrative moments that he kind of comes on with his own voice explaining things that are happening.
That was the most odd thing.
It was very odd. It took me out of it a lot. And so I feel like all that kind of combined together, it kind of took me out of the movie more than it put me in the movie. There were certain scenes that I felt like were ratcheting up, like Quentin Tarantino does, and then he hits you with that violence. I feel like those scenes suffered a lot because he did those things. So it kind of took me out of it completely, and then I was like, oh, well, I guess this is happening. And so that's kind of just how I felt about it. But,
yeah.
You know.
So I agree with a lot of what you said. I think that the direction and the choices that he made, such as the title, the credits, and also like his weird narration halfway through, which for me it kind of felt like coming in from intermission. I didn't necessarily dislike that too much. Obviously, it was kind of like him distancing the audience and saying, okay, remember, you're watching a movie, which does take away from getting into the film and being surprised by some of the things that happens. But also, I don't know, it makes it kind of fun in a way. It also kind of makes it what it is, which is a character study, essentially. It's kind of like a bunch of characters basically get locked in a room, and let's see what happens. And there's a lot of dialogue, and you do have to really enjoy watching just things unfold, maybe in odd ways, maybe in quirky ways, not necessarily like a boom bam in your face all the time. And for that, I did like it kind of for that, but I definitely agree with a lot of what you said, especially like the flashback scene, which was okay, but it, as well as a few other things, could have been taken out, and it would have actually made it, I think, a lot better.
I think it probably would have as well.
And we discussed a few moments that it would have packed so much more of a punch, but
it is what it is.
It is what it is.
There's choices you have to make as a director, and you're going to take some stuff out. So, like I said, there are some things that I would definitely do differently. I don't think it made the movie terrible, in my opinion, but it definitely wasn't good, in my opinion. It wasn't what I was looking for in terms of a Quentin Tarantino film. That's not to say that there weren't Quentin Tarantino-esque things in this movie.
Oh,
it
yeah,
just
there sure.
wasn't what I was expecting, I guess.
Right.
And that's not to say, because this movie is heavily drama film, it's not to say
Right,
that I don't like
right.
drama. I do.
Right.
But it just wasn't what I was looking for.
Right.
So if I had to give this movie a rating, I'd hit it up with a 5 out of 10. I'd give it a 5 out of 10.
5 out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Middle of the road.
So I like drama, and it tickled some of a funny bone, and by funny bone I mean like the drama funny bone in me. So I'm gonna give it a little bit higher, although I would bring it down quite a bit. I'm gonna go with, oh man, it's either 6 or 7, and I don't want to do 6.5, so I'm just gonna give it a 7.
Okay.
Can I do that? So if you like this video, of course, go like the video by hitting the like button. Also subscribe. We're gonna try to get 1,000 subscribers at least before the year's done. So be a part of that. Okay? Be a part of that. Just subscribe. We're gonna be coming out with new videos at least once a week, if not more. So be looking for that. Be looking for that.
This is The Dialogue. Thanks for joining us.
That's right.